I am super chuffed to welcome the very beautiful Elizabeth April to this interview today. And she is doing some amazing work on the planet at the moment. And I'd love to give a bit of a brief introduction to you, Elizabeth. You're a cosmic channeler, public speaker, spiritual influencer, and celebrated artist, having experienced the vibrational frequencies of truth and doing the necessary karma of spreading it. And I really love how you say as well on your website, I've never been so happy, fulfilled, and excited for the future as I am right now. I am truly living my authentic truth, and I intend to teach people how they can get there too. And that's something that I think really stands out with you, Elizabeth, because you are not afraid to touch on things that other people may, vie away from, and you're very, very transparent. You're very able to speak your truth no matter what it is, even if it triggers people, and you are fully able to express what you want to say. And I think that's really important, because a planet, we need to individually be transparent in order to be able to develop our innate abilities like telepathy and things like that. We won't be able to reutilize those skills and gifts unless we are honest with each other. And that's so important, and it's also so important for the acceleration of the planet. So that is something I see you have such a gift, and I love the things that you talk about, and they very much resonate with what I believe. And there is a couple of points recently that you've mentioned where I had the same information come through, and I thought, oh yay, Elizabeth's confirming exactly what I picked up as well. So I'm going to talk about that, but welcome. I'm so happy to chat with you today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm always open to spreading more information and just kind of helping people understand that they're not alone. And a lot of the symptoms and experiences and challenges and hardships we're all going through. And this battle of awakening, it doesn't have to be a solo journey. So I'm always very happy to explain things and get into universal truth. And you've got a great energy yourself. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's lovely. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I thought I'd ask you about one of the key features that you talk about in your website, which really led you to being the person that you are now, and to have all the gifts that you have, and to be able to express your truth in the world in the way that you do, is that you had an experience of alien abduction. And so I think it's good to just cover that, in some sort of measure, because people have such blocks with information about aliens and UFOs and things like that. And I like to dissipate that today, because you also say yourself that you are an alien energy coming into the planet. And I'm sure I am too. I think I have a lot of Pleiadian energy, and I'm all about love, and that's the Pleiadian energy, and I do Pleiadian light work. And so I'm pretty much the same, really, probably. It's just I don't talk about that every day, but just to disperse any sort of negativity about that topic is a fantastic thing. And I also had an alien experience too, which I would like to share at the end. But please, tell me a little bit about that experience and how that got you to be the person that you are now.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've had a lot of different alien and interdimensional experiences. And a couple of years ago, I really never thought that I was going to be public about my experiences and knowledge about aliens, because I really simply just didn't think humanity was ready for it. So then when I just kept getting this message that people need to know, and the videos that went the most public, or the things that I would get contacted on by like networks and TV shows, was all aliens. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'm listening, people are ready, they need to know. And so I've had a lot of interdimensional experiences, to the point where obviously that's a big source of my information that comes to me. And I also believe that people like Leonardo da Vinci and Nikola Tesla, I believe that they were actually channeling interdimensional and alien information into this planet. And I see myself very similar as a conduit, Now, maybe Leonardo da Vinci and Nikola Tesla didn't actually know where their information was coming from. Maybe they saw it in dream state or, meditation or a download or what have you. But I do believe that we're all kind of getting, information from the same source. And that's why even talking about the concept of aliens can be very triggering to some people because they were raised in a belief system that wasn't really aligned with maybe the truth out there in the universe. The trigger is a really good thing. It means that they're ready to shift themselves, and it's just their ego that's coming up to resist that change and transition. So my first experiences with interdimensionals came from between the age of 4 years old and 13. I was abducted about 6 times, and I was basically taken physically on this giant mothership. And I was taught about vibration, energy, consciousness, plants, animals, humans. I was basically taught about quantum physics at a very early age on that spaceship. Now, I didn't realize that I was taken so many times until I was the age of 24, so just a couple of years ago. And I was basically so concerned because most of my childhood was blacked out. Like basically from 14 back, I didn't really have too many memories, good, bad, or otherwise. And so when I went in for a hypnosis regression session, I started having these very vivid recalls and flashbacks to these 2 cute little gray beings like that popping into my room, telepathically communicating with me, saying that they have, a surprise for me on board this ship. And it was beautiful. And all of those experiences were so lovely. There was no experimentation. There was no implants. There was upgrades and DNA shifts and those kind of things, but nothing fear-based at all. Of course, I completely forgot about those experiences because after every time they abducted me, they waved their hand over my face and they wiped that memory. And they basically told me that I was going to remember at a certain point in time in my life when it's the appropriate time to remember, which I'm really happy for because I think I would be an even weirder kid if I was walking around saying, I got abducted last night. Yeah, my friends, they look like this. That's cool. So I'm glad that I wasn't like that alien kid in school. And I'm glad I remembered it at the appropriate time. But it wasn't actually until I was 18 where I had my first conscious alien experience, an abduction. And this was during a 10-day meditation retreat called Vipassana. And it's basically a no speaking, no technology, basically you, yourself, and your ego for 10 days.
Oh,
Did you do that?
Excited to do it. Yes, they've been telling me lately, go and do that.
Do it. Oh my goodness. Talk about mind-blowing. Like, I realized all of my greatest weaknesses, and I've also realized all of my greatest strengths within that 10 days. Like, it was just the most incredible experience I've ever had. Anyway, but on the second night of that meditation retreat, I ended up getting abducted by a species I like to call anyway the tall whites, just simply because they are very tall and very white. And they were not a very lovely species. They were quite a fear-based species. That whole abduction experience was quite fear-based for me, but almost so fear-based to the point where I started to question the fear. I'm like, wait a second. This fear isn't my own. And it turns out that species has a specific ability to actually create the chemical compound reaction in your brain to elicit the state of fear to actually put you into this almost paralyzed position of fear. So it's just interesting. But nothing really significant happened during that experience other than the fact that they put a chip in my ear. And later I got it not necessarily removed, but deactivated by a psychic channeler who did kind of psychic surgery is what she called it. And that was really cool. But what that experience allowed me to do was literally wake up to the fact that aliens do exist. Up until that point, I was astral traveling, remote viewing, I was reading people's thoughts telepathically, I was downloading messages in quantum physics, but it wasn't until that experience when all of my abilities just absolutely exploded to the next level. And a big part of my realization after that experience is, okay, aliens are here. They're real. Okay, that's the first thing. Second is they're on this planet. And the third big realization that I had was I started to have very vivid flashback and very vivid recall of myself as one of these beings, not necessarily a tall white, but a tall gray, 6-dimensional being as a Zeta. And all of a sudden, I started to realize another big can of worms is that humans are actually interdimensional beings. We have alien DNA. We are here and we're here for a reason. And that also sparked a whole flurry of questions that I had for the universe, which is great because I can channel these answers. And a big question was why? Why us? Why here? Why now? And why are there tons of interdimensional, intelligent, consciously aware beings interested in our lowly third dimension anthill of a planet? You know, I mean, there are billions of terrestrial third dimensional planets and species out there in the universe. Why do we have eighth dimensional Palladians here? Why do we have 11th dimensional angels? Why do we have 12th dimensional Anunnaki? Why do we have sixth dimensional grays and fourth dimensional reptilians? We're a third dimensional species. Why do we have so much excitement surrounding us? And so that was the biggest question that I had. Yeah.
I can answer that because I was watching your video the other day and you answered that in the video.
I sure did.
And I'm going to get to that because that's such a crucial point, which apparently you only received the information 6 months ago. So it's very current. So, yeah, I totally am getting to that. That's such a crux of everything, isn't it? But if I can just quickly share with you, Elizabeth, my little experience that I had. So I was asleep and I had this really vivid dream that I had 3 aliens standing above me, and you know, they had the big heads, you know, with the big eyes and everything, but it was a benevolent energy, and they actually put an implant in my body and I could see where they did it, and then they actually kissed me on the head when they left, and which was really sweet. I thought that was really nice. And so when I woke up I thought, oh my gosh, and I explained the dream to my partner at that time, and right where they had put the implant, I had a cut that long on my body, and it actually healed incredibly quickly and just disappeared, you know, really, really quickly. But I didn't want to go into fear over the experience because I thought, no, that's not what it's about. And I did feel it was like a positive, benevolent energy. And I had on the floor a book at that time about alien information. And I thought, I'm just going to open the book and see where it opens. And I opened it on a page and it said that they're here, the alien beings are here to understand us and to help us. So they're working with our DNA at a cellular level to be able to help us. So I thought, well, they're connecting to my energy and my DNA to be able to help us in some way. And that was what I got from the exact page that I opened the book. So that was really interesting.
Amazing. Yeah, that's completely aligned with what I have channeled and also experienced as well, which is, you know, they are here to advance our entire civilization. You know, they are here for us. Now, of course, we're going to find good and bad in every species, and we're going to find dark species and light species, high vibration and low vibration. But regardless, it's important for all of us to understand both sides in order to be the most balanced that we can be. So it's great that you had that experience. And I find, especially from the grays, a lot of the DNA implants, especially where you got yours, which was the heart chakra, really helps to unlock our DNA. And the way that they've explained it to me before was, the implant is not active right away. It's not active right away. And it's cool because once we hit a certain vibrational frequency, our vibration will trigger the implant to help us have these DNA shifts and these DNA activations. So it's really cool because these implants are very organic and they work organically with our system to work with us, not against us, and to really help propel us in the right directions as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important to be able to express that information so that it's, you know, not fear-based. And I think what I'm really, the information I'm getting through at the moment too is that we have all this, what they call junk DNA, which of course is highly important, higher frequency, interdimensional DNA, cellular information that we need to activate in order to accelerate our progress. And so I'd like to think that with what you've said, that they're just activating all this what you call junk DNA, or the predominant amount of DNA that is as yet not activated, that has all the different dimensional properties in it, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, 11th, all those properties in it, and so that I can access that to be able to activate my higher potential. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really incredible, and people, I think deep down, people are hungry for it. I think they're curious. I think they're interested, and it's really curious how many, believe it or not, Christians I end up attracting on my channel and on my pages. And I really truly think that they've been fed this information that aliens are demons, because anything that isn't God is a demon, right? I mean, how limiting is that? But deep down within them, they know that that doesn't really harmonize with their truest vibration. And there's something there that they're really curious about. So I always thank those Christians and thank the trolls for being on my page, because they are there for a reason, and they're showing up for themselves, not for me. No matter what their projection is telling me or telling my audience, ultimately they're still there, they're listening, and they are transmuting and activating their own DNA just by being open to what I'm saying.
Absolutely, definitely. And that's a really important thing too, because we want to, in love, we want to be able to support and provide an opportunity for people to be able to connect to the truth in a way that is really positive and supportive, and not confrontational or in conflict. And I think that's such a key thing as well. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So what else I was going to talk about today is your cosmic origins. So my cosmic origins, I feel like there's this beautiful pearlescent planet, and it's got this swirling energy, and there's lots of sound, and there's lots of color, because I love to sing, and I love color, and I paint. I've got paintings around that I do. So I love all that stuff, and so that's my origins, cosmically speaking, and I have an inner awareness of that. And it's a little bit of a homesickness there, I must say, too, with it. So tell me about your cosmic origins and where you feel is your true home. How does that feel for you? And could you explain it a bit, maybe?
Absolutely, yeah. So the first thing that I want to mention about cosmic origins is it's important that I kind of put a little disclaimer, and it's tough because I want to open everyone up to aliens are real, we are them, there's really no difference. And the problem is that people, when they come from a very linear perspective, they're looking at their origins or their home as just one thing. What's happening is we are bringing an old traditional linear perspective of the world into the understanding of the universe. And the universe isn't linear, the universe is quantum. So the disclaimer that I want to put out there is, a lot of people feel homesick. I absolutely resonate with that. It really feels like this doesn't resonate, this realm, it doesn't resonate in a lot of ways because it's third dimensional, it's limited, it's stagnant, it's linear, it's confining in so many ways. And that's why it doesn't resonate with most of us, because we are interdimensional beings. But there is no one home, there is no one origin. There is definitely a species that most people resonate with above other ones. But most likely you have been a reptilian before, you have been Anunnaki, you have been Blue Avian, you have been Arcturian, you have been Syrian, you have been all of those before. So the number one thing is, it's great to switch over and open up your mind about aliens, but it's really important that we don't limit ourselves. Same thing, it's like, oh, let me just go to my spirit guides. Oh, let me just consult my spirit guides. Oh, what do my spirit guides say about that? That is great that you're aware of the spirit guides, that you're calling upon them, that you're interacting with those other realms and frequencies. But at the same time, that's still something outside of yourself. So even recently, I've been getting away from consulting spirit guides, not just for myself, but also for my clients. And I've been going straight to their cosmic selves, in plural, right? Not just what's your cosmic origin. It's like, who have you been before and who's coming out right now in this moment? And whatever you're dealing with right now in this moment could be very different than what you may deal with in the next moment or tomorrow. Therefore, maybe today you have a Lyran coming through because there's, fierceness and, flexibility and whatever it is that you need. And then maybe tomorrow you need to be humble and grounded and healer. And maybe that's your Palladian coming out, right? So personally, the species that I most resonate with at this time anyway, and for a while, I guess, would be the tall grays. That's those guys right there. He's my little buddy. His name's Grayson. And so I really resonate with the tall grays. They are definitely my family, my home, and I feel most connected to the tall grays, which is really ironic because I always say it's a cruel joke from the universe that I put myself into this 5 foot nothing body. Like, a lot of people think that I'm a lot bigger than I am, and it's really funny when they see me in person for the first time. I'm like, guys, I'm telling you, I'm like 7.5 feet tall. Like, I'm huge, and I don't feel that way, but anyway, yeah, so I'm definitely tall gray, Zeta, and I know that my home planet when I was a Zeta was Sirius, planet B. But once again, I really am just flexible within the universe, and I connect to a lot of different species. But I think the quantum physics aspect of the tall gray, the genetics and hybridization program is very connected to the tall grays, and I'm very connected to that. And then also that very divine masculine, analytical, engineering, inventing kind of mindset is definitely where my mind is most of the time. And then of course the angels and the Palladians, just like you, so effervescent, so in flow, so divinely feminine, so much of a healer, so empathic, all of those things. And a lot of people are like, oh, Elizabeth, you're so pretty, you must be a Palladian. And I'm like, no, not even close. Like, I look like one of those guys. Like, I'm a weird looking dude, I'm a dude too, Anyways, it's super funny. Yeah, so that's kind of my origins, but also the disclaimer behind that as well.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.